Back in the building, buddies. Hey, it's Concert Buddy. Video you're about to watch is a continuation of my record store road trip series. This time I'm heading to Windy City, one of my favorite places to visit, Chicago, Illinois. Of course, when I travel, I've got to hit up record stores, and Chicago is no different, and they have some of the best shops around. So cue that lever, and coming up at a break, we'll get right into it. First off, thank you for checking out this video in advance. Whether you like it, love it, hate it, degrade it, I appreciate you taking your time checking this out, checking out my channel if you can. If you don't mind, would love to get you to like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your grandma, tell your trash man, whoever. I'm trying to get the word out as I'm heading into year 2 of doing these videos. Anyway, housekeeping out of the way.
You understand what I'm telling you?
So if you saw my last video, which I'll put a card here somewhere, if you're on mobile. If you're on TV, this looks really bizarre. So I went to Chicago recently, and in my last video, I went to the Chicago Hillside Record Show. So of course, not all my time was spent in Chicago proper at the record show. I visited some friends, caught up with some folks in the VC. So I talked a little bit about it in the previous video, but for the purposes of this video, this is a continuation of my record road trip series. Started a playlist if you really want to get nuanced and check out some of the other places I've been. But in short, whenever I travel, I like to hit up record stores, or I try to. And places I frequent more than not, I've been a couple of these shops many, many times. Chicago's no different. So after I did the record show, I went to the Wicker Park neighborhood, which I really enjoy because in Wicker Park, there's actually 3 shops you can hit in that area. And it's on Milwaukee Avenue, if you're looking, scoring at home. Notably, there's Reckless Records. Reckless is a shop that has 3 locations in the city, but I prefer the one in Wicker Park. Seems bigger. I feel it's better curated from the ones I've been to. There's Dusty Groove, which is a record store that is really big into jazz and really curates really well. And then there's Sugar Records, which is a record shop. Pricing is a little higher than some of the other ones. I have found records there before, but if I'm in a time crunch, I usually hit Dusty and Reckless. Anyway, plus, bonus tip, if you're ever in that neighborhood, there is by far the best breakfast place, I would say almost in America. I know that's high praise, but this place is called the Bongo Room. They've got a couple locations in Chicago proper. But folks, this is no hyperbole, this is no BS. Some of the best breakfast you're going to eat in your life. And this is food. I know I'm really supposed to be talking about records right now, but I'm just so passionate about the Bongo Room. It is so good. I even have a picture here about what I had this visit. The pancakes, the egg burritos, the Benedicts, holy smokes. So good. Like, this food is so good, buddies, that when I'm eating it, I'm like giggling on my inside, like a little girl, like a little schoolgirl. It's so good.
No offense, but you are a stupid asshole.
Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the record. So my first stop when I hit Wicker Park and when I hit Chicago this go around was Dusty Groove. A really nice shop. They have a very, very good online presence. I've talked about them before, and places to get vinyl. I think I even did like a little mini store walkthrough, talk through in a previous video. Again, card if you're on mobile, this makes sense. If not, I'm a crazy person. But Dusty is really well curated shop. It's almost next to impossible to leave that shop without something, and this visit was no different. So first thing I copped was an original pressing of Lenny Kravitz's Let Love Rule, in the shrink, in the hype. I must say that Brandon, MrHoffame, and even JC from the Flip Side with JC, becoming bad influences on me in the sense that I'm really kind of getting fond of finding records with hype stickers. I just think the complete art is kind of cool for the total package. Not a deal breaker, but these things kind of stick out to me. But anyway, first pressing Lenny Kravitz, Let Love Rule. Tremendous artist, one of my favorite artists. To me, I hate to say this, it's my opinion only, so take it with a grain of salt, but when I saw Lenny live, it was great music, really good musician, but like one of the last rock stars, if that makes sense. Like you just knew you were just watching a rock star. And anyway, happy to add this to the collection. All right, gonna laugh. It's just the order I'm picking them. But I found a vintage New Kids on the Block Christmas record. If you're a child of the 80s, it was virtually inevitable. Pardon my trash truck in the neighborhood going by. It was virtually impossible to grow up. I grew up in the country, but we even still heard of New Kids on the Block. Just a phenomenon of, the boy bands, bubblegum, looking like wholesome boys, even though they're from Boston, and even though Donnie D is the bad boy, all that kind of stuff. It was next near to impossible to not have heard about New Kids on the Block coming up in the 80s, early 90s. Got a good price on this just for nostalgia. It's Christmas time as I'm doing this video, as I was going shopping, so I figured, what the heck.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
And then the last record I'm going to show from Dusty Groove, I'm going to call it Dusty Roads, come on now, is this Katie Lang, Injuine. Now, maybe I mispronounced it. For layman's terms, or for chuckleheads like me, this is probably the record that I know the most because it has her big hit Constant Craving on here. This has not been pressed in the US, at least originally was not pressed in the US. This is a UK pressing, which makes this even more fun to find because it's not easy to find UK pressings out in the wild, readily available. So the fact that I was just flipping through the K's, or was it the L's? I forget, but in that general vicinity. And I pulled this out and it was first press UK, made me real happy. Good price on it. Happy to add this to the collection. So again, Dusty Grooves. God, help if I can pronounce it right. Terrific shop to check out. Now I'm going to show you what I got at Reckless. So at Reckless is a shop that, since I've been going there over a decade, they've moved up and down the block on Milwaukee. I believe this new location is supposed to have more square footage, space, etc. Usually I'll find some pretty good stuff. The wall stuff is usually where my eyes go first when I go into the shop, just because, like I said at the beginning, they have 3 locations in Metro Chicago. I will say, of the 3, the downtown Chicago one is probably my least favorite. It's just small. I don't know, maybe it's more of a tourist trap. I don't know. I've never found anything good at that particular shop. But Reckless in Wicker Park usually hits pretty good. This record is no exception. Again, this is not a very hard to find record. This is Sugar Hill Gang's self-titled record, debut. But obviously, the big banger off this one, one of the arguably, not even arguably, indisputable, most important hip-hop songs, Rapper's Delight, came off of this album, but comes on that real cool Sugar Hill label. Again, not a very uncommon record. What is uncommon about it, as you can see, is really clean on the front. This is a record that, when I've seen it in the past, does have some ring wear right there, so I was happy to pick this one up. Now, to level set, keep in mind, I had been at the record show in the morning for like 6 hours, from 5:30-ish to about noon. And I was starting to get a little tired. I got my second win when I hit Wicker Park, fueled up on that Bongo Room glorious breakfast, hit Dusty Groove, and then went to Reckless, as we're talking about now. So I was starting to lose a little momentum about this time. But I did find a record which was really cool. This is a first press of Blues Breakers by John May Hall with Eric Clapton, and something I found out as I was reading about this record and kind of study it in the store is, if you look closely, you'll see John McVie of Fleetwood Mac fame on the cover. Can you see him? Clapton's pretty easy to identify. I mean, he's too cool for school reading this, probably Dirty Mag. But, yeah, right there. Anyway, first press, super clean, sounds delightful. First U.S. press, I should say, on that London label. Again, not incredibly expensive or anything. It was just cool record, right place, right time. Happy to add it. And like I said, when I go into Reckless, usually my eyes dart to the walls where they have all the the premium records. Like I saw this time, like a Motley Crue debut, I think it was a promo copy. I mean, some real neat stuff, but things that, again, since I'd already hit the show, pulled some cool stuff there, starting to run out of steam. Nothing that really was making me jaw drop, but that doesn't mean that it was a bad visit. It's just, as you guys know, when you go to shops, it's hit or miss depending on what's come in, when you're there, etc. So happy to add that to the collection.
This knocks out the fat.
So it was about this time that I was wrapping up my breakfast, and I was actually texting with zeppearl, Vance, VK. A lot of you know him from the Rachel stream and jumping on other streams. He has his own channel. I'll put links below. Great guy. Actually met him in person in non-YouTube world for the first time when he came to St. Louis for the Pearl Jam show here. So it was real cool to connect with him there. And then when I was coming to Chicago, I was trying to connect with a few folks. Obviously, if you saw my previous video, talked about Christian, CGC vinyl guy. Was trying to hit up Mike Hubtunes. Didn't work out, so maybe next time we'll connect. But Vance was actually going to pick up a record when I got a hold of him, and we were trying to formulate a plan. So long story short, I went and met him, and he was at a shop called Bucket O' Blood Books and Records. This is a shop I had never even heard of. And this is what's great about like making connections in the vinyl community, is because Vance, a local, just like has the tribal knowledge to go to these shops and take me along with it. So he had taken public transit over there, so I met him over there, and again, I'm starting to slow down. I'm starting to lose my mojo, lose my energy, even though I just had this nice, glorious breakfast in Wicker Park at the Bongo Room. Again, Bongo Room. Anyway, Vance was picking up a couple things, and so we hung out the greater part of the back afternoon. Went to Bucket of Blood. Dave's Records, which is a record shop. I think it's over in the north side, Wrigleyville-ish. It's off Clark. It's closing. So, sorry, get there fast if you're watching this. So they had some deals. I think it was like buy one, get one 50% off, whatever. So I wanted to go before they closed. My intent really was to pick up a Dave's Records t-shirt, but I get there and they only had like the baseball ringer tees, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't find anything at Dave's. It was really packed. Talk about a very small space. Like Dave's Records, really, really finite. So there's a lot of hustling and moving and grooving around, especially going out of business. They had a lot of people there. So didn't find anything there. And then as I was starting to slow down, I think we hit one more shop. I know Vance hopefully will watch this. He can say in the comments. I forget the name at the moment, drawing a blank. But there are so many record stores in Chicago that it's not really even doing it justice to do like just one video. So next time I go back up, I'm going to try to, obviously I'll hit these strong ones that I really enjoy, but I'm going to go to some other ones. So before I got out of town, as I was driving outside of Chicago downtown the next morning, I made it a point to stop in Oak Park, Illinois. It's just right outside of Chicago. There's a record store that I'd been real eager to check out called Valhalla Records. The owner, Val, had passed away a couple years ago. I saw some stuff in the news and online that they're on the verge of closing after she passed, and fortunately a benefactor kind of stepped forward to make some of the financial pieces work and stay in order. And so it was a pleasure to be able to dig and check out that shop. I picked up a record I can't show you because it's a gift for somebody else. But it's a really neat shop. It's really cool vibe, really cool neighborhood. I'd never been to Oak Park before. And then since I was still there, I just checked my trusty phone, my 79th Oregon, and there was another store, I think it's called Oak Park Records. Swung by, checked it out, didn't find anything. But see, that's the golden awesomeness that Chicago offers, is it's so expansive in the different neighborhoods that there's so many record stores. Some I've checked out, like I said, and talked about here in this video, and others I still haven't even broken ground on. So it always leaves opportunity to find new shops, new experiences, hang with new people, all that kind of stuff. So that's going to do it, buddies, for this version of Record Store Road Trip Chicago numero uno. I'm sure there'll be others in Chicago, but tell me in the comments below, have you shopped Chicago? What are some of your favorite shops or experiences or great records that you found? I'm not trying to dog on that reckless downtown location. Maybe people watching have had great luck there. I can tell you I haven't, so that's just one person's experience. But Chicago, particularly in the springtime and even in the fall, is few things beat it. It's a terrific place to go. Probably to live to. All that said, buddies, thank you for spending your most valuable commodity, your time, with me watching this video, watching my channel, giving me a shot. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Really, really enjoy it. And until I make another video, coming soon, when you get the chance, just spin it. Catch you next time.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.